Hello, welcome back to another yoga flow with Lauren. We're going to specifically focus on lower body strength today, so grab your mat, some water, and get ready. So we're going to get started with this flow sitting on your mat, sitting on your heels if that's accessible to you, aiming to keep your heels really pushed together. If it's not accessible to you, just kicking your heels out to one side, like so in the video. Or if you're most comfortable in cross-legged, that is absolutely fine too, wherever you feel most comfortable. And in your own time, close down your eyes. Feel the space that you're in and start to focus inwards and focus on your breath. Placing the palms of your hands to meet the tops of your thighs. And then we'll begin with taking 3 large inhales and exhales really, really deep into the body, just to get the steady rhythm of the breath going and your focus going. Taking these inhales and exhales in your own time, really sending it all the way through the body. Slowly start to blink open your eyes here. Take a nice roll with the shoulders up and back. And then as you exhale, walk your fingertips out in front of you and just allow the body to collapse down, aiming for the forehead to meet the mat. Really stretch into the back here. Send the breath all the way to the lower back muscles. Taking this moment to set any intentions or goals that you might have in mind for this short flow, or even just thanking yourself for getting onto the mat. And then slowly we'll walk ourselves back up to seated in a neutral position. If you're sitting on your knees, you're just going to tuck your toes and we'll stretch out the feet. If you're in your cross-legged position, just swing them around. And again, if it's comfortable for you to tuck your toes, sit back onto your heels and just stretch out the feet. Breathe here. It's not the most comfortable stretch. And then exhale, release, untuck your toes. Just stretch your arms out in front of you. We'll take circles with the wrists, stretching out the wrists. And then flexing into one hand. Flex the right hand, pull the right fingertips back with the left hand. Stretch into the forearms. Not forgetting to breathe here. And then exhale, swap over to the other hand. And then release the hands down. Give them a quick shake by your side. Once you release your hands down, you're going to come off your heels, kick your legs out in front of you, keeping a slight bend in your knees. You're just going to send your weight back into your hands, so place your hands behind your back and then slowly allow your knees to both fall over to one side and then the other, kind of releasing the hips here in a more like a windshield kind of action, windshield wiper. And then send them over to the right, to the left, 2 or 3 times either side. On the last round here, bring your knees back into neutral and then keep a nice bend in your knees out in front of you. Bring the hands out in front of you as well, and then you're going to keep a nice bend in the left knee, straighten into the right leg, and then exhale, bring the right knee into the right chest. Repeat this on the right side 2 to 3 times. We're just slowly starting to warm up that core. And then exhale, change, so keep that bend in the right knee, and then extend the left leg long, bringing it into the chest, and bring knee to the chest using your core. This time, take both knees off, so you're bringing your feet into a tabletop position. And then exhale, release the right leg down, bring it back up, and exhale, release the left. Repeat on both sides. Using your breath, really scooping your core through this movement. One last time on each side, bringing in the right leg to the chest, and then extend the left. Exhale, release the core, hug the knees in and roll down. Scoot yourself forward on the mat if you need more space. Bring your back flat to the mat and bring your knees into your chest, rolling out the lower back and releasing those muscles here. Slowly bringing your knees into your chest, start to rock forward and back to create some momentum, and eventually rocking ourselves all the way up to seated position, swinging our legs around, and then bringing yourself into an all 4 position. We're going to meet in tabletop. finding your tabletop here, tucking the toes and pushing the hips all the way back to the heels, and then sending the hips high to the sky for our downward dog. Once you get to your downward dog, start to release the heels, release the hips, do what feels nice here, and take 2 to 3 deep breaths. Continuing to use the breath, the inhale and the exhale in downward dog to create space in the body, getting the chest to the tops of the thighs, and then eventually looking up, forward to the top of your mat, and then take slow steps one by one. We will meet in our forward fold at the top of our mat. Inhale to slowly roll up vertebrae by vertebrae, bringing yourself in your own time to a mountain pose, checking in with your posture. And then inhaling, reaching the arms up and overhead, joining together in prayer here. And then as you lift out of the hips, allow that space to release a nice back bend. And then exhale, forward fold. Plant the palms, bend the knees, and step the right foot back. You can drop the knee straight away here, and then step the left foot back to meet it, slightly lowering the hips to come into like a half push-up position, and then slowly lowering the chest with control all the way to the mat. Inhale for your baby cobra, exhaling, releasing from baby cobra, pushing up through plank, and then sending the hips high for your downward dog. I'm going to repeat this sequence again. Move through one more sun salutation. Make sure you're mindfully getting the body nice and warm. So we'll walk ourselves back to the top of our mat, meet in our forward fold, then inhale, release the hands up and overhead. Exhale, forward fold. As you plant the palms here, step the left foot back, dropping the back knee, opening the chest, gaze forward, and then releasing the right leg back to meet the left. Keeping the elbows tucked into the body as you lower to the chest with control, sweeping up for your baby cobra. Exhale to release down to the mat. Inhale, tuck the toes, power up through your plank for a further challenge, and then pushing the hips to the sky for our downward dog. Grounding into the right foot here in your downward dog, kicking the left leg to the sky, releasing it for a 3-legged dog, pointing through the toes. And then bending into that left knee, sweeping the knee all the way up into the chest, stepping it in between the hands for a low lunge. Engaging the back leg here, pivoting on the back foot to drop it into a 45-degree angle, and then sweeping the arms up and overhead, finding your warrior one. Eventually from warrior one, you're just going to readjust yourself into warrior two, sweeping the arms out to either side of the body, lowering into that front knee. Moving from our warrior two into our peaceful warrior, so reaching the front arm up and back, and the chest faces up to the sky, back arm comes to rest on the back leg. Inhale nice and deeply here, and then exhale, release, come back up to your warrior two before windmilling the arms back down, framing the front foot, pivot on the back foot, and then you're going to step the front foot back to meet the right foot, holding in your plank, and slowly lowering through your chaturanga, meeting an up dog, and then exhale back to our downward dog. Moving fluidly through the same sequence on the other side, so ground the left leg, kick the right leg high to the sky for your 3-legged dog, really open the hips here, and then bend into that right knee, send it all the way up into the chest, hover it for a moment, and as you exhale, step it up in between the hands, pivoting on the back foot, bring it into a 45-degree angle, and then inhale to get your balance and sweep the arms up and overhead into your warrior one. Making sure your hips are as square as possible in your warrior one, really reaching your arms up and overhead before exhaling and sending them out to either side of the body for your warrior two, lowering into that front knee, and then breathing in as you reach the front arm forward, up and back. Just come back over the head, back arm just rests down on the back of the leg, sending your chest up to the sky and opening the heart before sweeping back up into your warrior two. Strong stance, and then exhale, release it down, windmill the arms to frame the front foot, pivot on the back foot, and then step the back foot up this time to meet at the top of the mat, We'll come to our forward fold, lifting halfway, and then exhale, forward fold. Releasing here, taking a moment to release the tension in your head, shaking yes and no, clasping the elbows, and swinging left to right. On a nice inhale, release the elbows gently, and then sweeping the arms up and overhead, allow them to meet in prayer, and bring them down to sit in front of the chest center for a moment. Steadying your breath, and then grounded into the left leg. You're going to kick your right knee into your chest. You can take hold of the right knee with your hands, take some ankle circles, and then we're going to step this right foot back into our crescent lunge. So if you want to test the balance a little, release the knee and then just take a leap of faith. Take a big step back. If you fall over, it definitely does not matter. We're testing the balance here today. And whether you want to stay in your lunge or drop the back knee to pivot it, just allow the heel to meet the mat, that's absolutely okay. And then we'll send the arms back behind us, interlacing the fingers and pushing the knuckles down to the mat, opening the chest here and lowering our upper body forward into our humbled warrior. So your left shoulder is going to come on the inside of your left thigh, and then allow the arms to just send up and overhead and let gravity do the work there, focusing on your balance and really breathing in while you feel your body building up that heat in the legs. Inhale to slowly release the arms, plant the palms down to frame the front foot, and then moving to our easy spinal twist here, peel the left fingertips all the way to the ceiling for a twist, pivoting on that back foot if you had it planted to create space. And then exhale, bring the hand back down, step the front foot back, we'll meet in our plank pose. From plank, lowering through chaturanga slowly to the mat. Exhale for upward dog or baby cobra, and then inhale, we'll meet in our downward facing dog. Once again, we're going to move through a vinyasa here before we do that flow fluidly on the other side. So taking a peek up to the front of your mat, whether you want to hop up or step up, we're going to meet in our forward fold. Inhale to sweep the arms up and overhead, reaching for a slight back bend before folding forward. Fingertips come to the shins, flat back, and then exhale, forward fold. Stepping the left foot back and then the right foot back to meet it, either staying in your plank and lowering through chaturanga or dropping the knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhale for your baby cobra. Really taking your time and using your breath through every pose here. Exhale, tuck the toes, power up through your plank or send the hips back to the heels to send them high for a downward dog. Repeating through this flow, now on the other side, from downward dog, ground into the left leg, kick the right leg high to the ceiling, really opening that hip and stretching out the leg. And then exhale, bend into the leg, send the knee all the way into the chest and step it up in between the hands at the top of the mat. And following with the left, kick the left foot up to meet it. Rolling up through the spine, we're going to meet in the standing pose, readjusting in your mountain pose in your own time, stacking the neck carefully back on top of the spine. And then inhale, reaching the arms up and overhead, joining them together in prayer to bring them down to sit in front of the heart. Repeating the left knee into the chest this time, lifting it up, and if you want to just have extra support there with your balance, gripping onto the knee with your hands, and then releasing the knee, bringing your hands together in prayer and stepping the left foot back to find your lunge. Testing the balance here. If you fall out of it, that's absolutely okay. Lifting your hands up and overhead and then readjusting the back heel, letting it find the mat and placing the foot at a 45-degree angle, interlacing the fingers behind, pushing the knuckles down to the ground, really opening the chest before sending the body forward for your humble warrior. Allow the arms to come up and overhead and let gravity do the work. Let them fall down, nice stretch in the shoulders. Really using your breath here, your inhale and your exhale to help build that heat. And then finally exhale, slowly with control, release those hands down to frame either side of the front foot, and then moving through our easy twist, pivot on the back foot to lift the heel off, and then lift the right fingertips all the way to the ceiling. With every exhale, twisting further into the spine. On your last breath here, Place the right hand back down to frame the front foot, and then lift out of that front foot, stepping it back to find your plank. Shoulders stacked over wrists here, glutes and core engaged. And then eventually lower the heels. Send the knees as wide as the yoga mat, creating space for you to be able to sit back and find your child's pose. Finding a nice moment in child's pose. Before inhaling, coming back up to your tabletop position, lifting the hips, tuck the toes and hover the knees here 1 inch off the mat for just a moment before sending the hips high for your downward dog. Inhale to kick the right foot up to the ceiling, 3-legged dog, and then exhale, bend into the knee and send it all the way up in between the hands. Opening the chest in runner's lunge here, finding a strong gaze in front of you, and then inhale, lifting the arms up and off, finding your crescent lunge to pivot the back foot all the way to the ground, find 45 degrees, coming through your warrior 1. Exhale, send the arms out long beside you for your warrior 2, adjust the back leg before sweeping up and back for our peaceful warrior, opening the chest to the sky, really engaging into that front leg. Exhale, come back up through your warrior 2, strong gaze forward. And then from here, we're going to readjust ourselves back into our crescent lunge. So pivoting off the back foot and sweeping the arms up by the ears. Before sending the arms behind us, interlacing the fingers, pushing away and coming through our humbled warrior here. If you're lifted off the back heel, this is just to challenge your balance a bit further and build extra heat, but the option is always there to drop that back heel as well if you need. Body is forward in humbled warrior, using your breath. Really focus on that balance and control. On your next exhale, gently releasing the hands, bring them down to the mat to frame the front foot, and then moving through your easy spinal twist, lifting the right fingertips all the way to the ceiling. Inhale to bring the right hand back down, release the right foot to step it back to your plank. Engage the core, moving through your vinyasa in your own time, lowering chest to the mat. Inhale, push up for baby cobra, and exhale, lower. Tucking the toes, pushing the hips all the way back to the heels before sending the hips high to the sky to find your downward dog. From downward dog, sending your gaze forward and stepping your feet all the way to the top of your mat, meeting in our forward fold. And inhaling to reach the arms up and overhead. Exhaling, send the body down, forward fold. Stepping or hopping back into your plank here. And then finally meeting back in downward dog. Grounding into the right leg, kicking the left leg all the way to the ceiling. Exhale to bend into that left knee and shoot it up into the chest before stepping it up to the top of the mat in between the hands, pivoting on that back foot and sweeping the arms up and overhead to find your warrior 1 position. Checking with the hips and the front knee, it's over the front ankle, and then eventually send the arms out wide to either side of the body for your warrior 2. Strong gaze here as you reach the front palm forward, up and back, finding that peaceful warrior. Sending the energy of the heart and the chest all the way to the sky. And then exhale, sending it back through your warrior 2. Really strong stance here through the legs. And in your own time, readjusting back through that crescent lunge. So you're going to bring your hands all the way, straight arms overhead, in line with the ears, and pivot off that back ankle. Interlacing the fingers behind you, really opening that chest, pushing the knuckles away before sending the upper body forward for a humbled warrior. So your left shoulder is going to come inside your left thigh, and you're going to let gravity do the rest of the work. We're almost done here. You're doing really well. I know the heat really builds in this position. You really use that breath and focus on the balance. Final inhale here, and as you exhale, gently with control release the hands, bring them down to frame the front foot, and then in your own time move through your easy twist. Left arm comes to the ceiling. Exhale to release the hand back down, planting the palms into the mat and stepping the left foot back all the way to meet your downward dog. Straight away send the hips high, release the body, and then exhale, ripple the body forward, coming into your high plank, dropping the knees, sending the hips high to downward dog, rippling through this in a fluid movement in your own time. And then once again finding your plank, dropping your knees. And we're gonna come, don't mind me in the video, I had a spider jump on my mat here. We're gonna come down to sitting on our mat, so your glutes are gonna meet the mat, kicking your legs out in front of you and keeping a nice bend in the knees, scooching yourself forward on your mat, creating space, and then sending your arms out in front of you. We're gonna lower with control, scooping our core in and using our engagement to roll down all the way to the mat. Send the arms overhead, send the legs out long, point through the feet, and really give yourself a full body stretch. Before exhaling, dropping the hands down back by the side, kicking the knees into the chest and really giving them some love, a nice hug, and rolling on the back, releasing all the back muscles. Exhale as you send the right leg out long in front of you. Your left knee is bent into the chest. You're going to send it over to the right side for a spinal twist. Your gaze falls over the left shoulder. And with every exhale, breathe further into that twist. Inhale to bring both knees back into the chest. Swap them over so the left leg is out long. The right knee falls over the left side. And then your gaze comes over that right shoulder. Really using the heat you've built to stretch further into that spine and twist further if you can. Taking a moment to check in with how your body feels with the heat it's built up, and using your breath to create more and more space. Before exhaling, sending your knee back through neutral and really kicking the legs out long, allowing the body to completely relax here. We're going to take a moment in Shavasana. It's about one and a half minutes within this flow, but I do encourage you, if you have the time and the space, to take a couple more minutes and sit in the silence that you've created. Really using your inhale and exhale to release every muscle in the body that you've just worked. Plant the palms either by the side, or if you want to place one hand on the lower belly and one hand on the chest. Taking your final breath here as you engage the fingers, moving the fingertips. Making no sudden movements here, slowly lifting the knees into the chest, falling over to one side, and in your own time lifting up to a seated position. Either cross legs or sitting on your knees here. Bringing your hands together in front of the heart center in prayer. We'll bow our heads. Take a moment to check in with an intention you set for yourself, or just thank your body for moving through the flow, and thank you for flowing with me. We'll bow our heads, say namaste, and thank you.